Iron Man.
Yeah.
A heterosexual couple that's also white.
Okay.
That's pushing an agenda of sorts.
All right.
Why are you not mad about Iron Man pushing that agenda in a different movie having two main black lesbian couple?
Because I think it's about preference. Like to.
Okay. Just to create a good basis.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you go more with Republicans or Democrats?
We're definitely more like Republican conservative based, I would say.
And do you support Donald Trump?
As a party and as a group, we don't support either candidate. But if you're asking me personally, individually, yeah, I support Donald Trump.
Okay, how do you feel about his most recent comments about like the NATO alliance and saying that that Russia could do whatever they want with whoever they want if they don't pay?
Well, I'll say this, okay? So the media has had so much focus on Ukraine and on Israel, and that I think that as Americans, we need to put our priorities first. You got to look at the people in the lower socioeconomic classes, the people who can't afford to pay their groceries, can't afford to pay their bills, and that you have homeless people that have been kicked out of these shelters in order to house illegal migrants. And so you have people coming up and telling them, what do you think of the war in Israel? What do you think of the war in Ukraine? They're worried about just being able, if they're going to have a meal, if they're going to have a roof over their heads, and you're going to ask them about Ukraine and Israel. Like, look at the amount of money that we've given them. $113 billion within 2 years, not to mention their government is corrupt. And it's like, I'm not against foreign aid. What I'm against is the amount of money that we've given them when we could use it to help the homeless, the needy, the impoverished, and the people that can't afford to get by.
Sure, and when have conservative people ever really supported like stronger welfare or programs that actually support homeless people, those in actual lower socioeconomic status?
I think in many different examples. I think a lot of it would be under the Reagan administration. I think it would be under even Dwight D. Eisenhower. I think a lot of his programs really helped. I'd say a lot of the times that, what the liberal Democrat media does is they label us as we're only trying to enrich ourselves and trying to enrich our pockets. I disagree with that because I think that in a lot of ways, like not only are we helping the higher class, but we are also helping the lower class too. We just get a lot of backlash for it because we think because in a lot of ways capitalism from the liberal side is viewed as evil.
So with the comment, going back real quick, back to the comment about Trump saying that Russia could attack whoever they want without the United States stepping in. Does that not sway your opinion on Donald Trump?
No, it wouldn't. Because the thing is that we're not in a war directly with Russia. We're giving Ukraine's weapons. We're giving Ukraine weapons. But the thing is that we've realized that with this war in Ukraine, that the end is inevitable. That's the problem that we realize. No matter, the EU will send 800 tanks over to Ukraine, but Russia's got 12,000. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news recently, but another city in Ukraine just fell to the Russians. It's slowly but surely it's falling apart in Ukraine.
Right.
That's the sad thing.
Goes around the point of if Russia attacked a NATO country, as Donald Trump said that they should or could if they wanted to, that would involve us, considering we're in alliance with them. Does that not sway? That doesn't change your opinion on Trump at all?
No, it doesn't.
That they can attack any of our alliances?
Yeah, no, it doesn't sway my opinion at all.
Okay, next question.
Correct.
Is who do you favor more, Israel or Palestine, and why?
Okay, I'm going to say something here, okay?
Sure.
So for a history major, someone who's done his history, okay, I support neither. And the reason why I'll say this, 1947, so 2 years after the Second World War happened, okay, you had all these Jews that were displaced, they had nowhere to go, and so there was a bunch of other countries that had anti-Semitism with them. So these Jews were, Palestine, which was part of the British government, agreed to give up land for these Jews in order to move in. They came in, and they had their area, and everything was fine for a little bit. Then they started ransacking homes and they started murdering civilians, and horrible things were happening. Now we go to the modern day and the other issues that have happened with the Palestinians, with the killings in Gaza, with the Hamas terrorists, and the protesters. The problem that I see here is that you have protesters that are part of the social justice warrior movement, so people that are very pro-LGBTQ, people that are pro-minority, free Palestine, and then you have people that are part of the Islamic extremist groups, people that support, that have completely conflicting ideologies ideologies that it literally says in their constitution to wipe out for the genocide of the Jews, to what are completely against gay people, and you're having these people march in the street alongside each other. Like, that doesn't work. Like, at some point, it's going to give and it's going to completely fall apart. And it doesn't make sense. So as an American and someone who knows about the conflict, who knows about what's going on, I side with neither. I put America first, if anything.
So, okay, how do you feel about Biden in the United States continually voting against the ceasefire?
That's his fault. He keeps making things worse for Americans.
Do you think Trump would vote for a ceasefire?
Yes, of course. I think he would vote for a ceasefire. And
even
everywhere.
Though he's extremely pro-Israel? More pro-Israel than Biden?
I mean, it's a ceasefire. Like, I don't think anybody wants a war to continue. I think, whoever wins these wars, I just want them to end. Sure. I want people to be at peace again. Cool. So whoever wins, it's fine.
Next question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, great. Would you consider it a deal breaker if a presidential candidate said that they would suspend the Constitution?
According to which source?
According to them saying it.
But who was saying it?
A presidential candidate.
Presidential candidate.
Yeah.
If they were to suspend the Constitution.
If they said they would suspend the Constitution.
I mean,
is that a deal breaker for you?
I mean, if they were to say that, I don't know about that. That's not a deal breaker for me. I'd have to see whether they were to follow through with that actions, because in today's media and today's life, unfortunately, people say a lot of things. They say a lot of stupid things. They say a lot of smart things. And it's a matter of whether you follow through with that action. That would have to change my mind.
But you would vote for somebody even if they did say that?
Okay, yeah, sure. I would.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I would. Okay. If they said that they were going to suspend the Constitution, okay, I know that they would not necessarily fully mean it, because they've said things that they didn't mean in the past.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Final question, if that's okay for you.
Of course, by all means.
Let me just make sure I get a good question for you.
Okay.
Just one that will be interesting.
Yeah. I'm a good debater, aren't I?
I like hearing. I like talking to people that know politics. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I get a good one. Okay, final question.
Okay.
Do you think, in any way that you would frame this, or that you might think, do you think that there is a gay agenda, positive or negative? Do you think that there is one?
I think that the media has a way of victimizing people. I think it has a way of trying to convince people that there's a way that especially with a lot of the movies, that they're more focused on the message than the actual movie itself. You look at the recent box office with Elemental, or you look at what was it called, The Little Mermaid. You look at a lot of woke films that Disney have made, and they haven't profit from it. So I think especially when it comes to things like Disney, there definitely is an agenda of some sort. I wouldn't label it the gay agenda, but I would label it the woke agenda.
What would be the purpose of the woke agenda then?
I think it's it's about message spreading. It's about telling people that minorities need they need to be recognized. But it's people are there just to see the movie. They're just to go watch the film. They just want to enjoy it. But when you're repeatedly telling people oh, this is the message, you have to put this in front of the person, they're not going to go see that. That's why when you look at movies like the Super Mario movie, which had no woke messaging, was a complete success, versus The Little Mermaid and Strange New World, which were complete flops. That's where I would say there was a difference between having a woke agenda and no woke agenda.
What's the problem with trying to normalize minoritized populations in movies and in media?
I mean, it's I think what people are if you're going to go see, I don't know, Iron Man or any sort of action movie, I'm there to see, the action itself. If I'm going to go see a war documentary movie, or even, a good example was the Cleopatra film. They went with this narrative that Cleopatra was black. We know that was not true, that she was Egyptian and that she was Persian and that she had, light skin color. And the thing is that, what we found out was that it was a complete failure because it went off of false historical facts. So yeah.
My question is, though, in other movies that are not surrounding minoritized populations, they're also pushing agendas that are heterosexual and white and heteronormative.
And we should be ashamed of that?
No, but my question is, why are you so upset about the movies that don't push those messages?
Of those messages? Because I'm there to just watch a movie. I'm not there to be lectured.
Why can't you watch the movie and see black people fall in love and they happen to be lesbian?
I'm not against black people falling in love. It's just when you're repeatedly telling me that I should feel bad or I should feel that I should support this certain relationship in a movie when I'm just there to see the movie, like that's I'm not going to go pay to see that. Like I'm going to go pay to see a movie where it's actually interesting.
Wouldn't you call it? Wouldn't you be opposed to, like, for instance, if I was as a black person, I was like, I'm not going to watch Iron Man because it's about white people and it's pushing a message that I don't agree with. Wouldn't you? That's the same thing on the flip side. So why don't you oppose that idea?
That it's about white people, but
what? It's so for instance, Iron Man, a heterosexual couple that's also white.
Okay.
That's pushing an agenda of sorts.
All right.
Why are you not mad about Iron Man pushing that agenda in a different movie having two main black lesbian couple?
Because I think it's about preference. Like, if you're if you're a liberal and you love communism, like, and are you really gonna want to go see a movie about, you know, how good fascism is or how good capitalism is? No, it's the same. You could say the same thing about, like, you know, if you're a person that is not interested in that sort of category, whether it be gay, lesbian, any sort of relationship, like, you don't have to do that. It's up to you whether you want to choose to watch it or not.
And don't you think that's odd that only conservative people are against watching movies that are not heteronormative?
It's not just conservative.
Because I've never heard a liberals person say, "Oh, I'm not going to watch this heteronormative white movie."
Yeah, because the problem is that when it comes to the liberal perspective, is it's the lack of options. You only hear certain people say that, like, "Oh, I'm against this sort of thing." It's like, I'm against, like, you know, this area. But in reality, like, I think it's more of just consulting people. I think it's more of just listening to people, like, and seeing, like, you know, I don't necessarily fully agree with this. I agree with this area, but I don't agree with that. So.
But you would rather, like, not watch a movie because it's not
because it's about woke messaging, and I can't.
People is woke.
I mean, like, why would I care? Why would I care in the first place?
Inclusivity.
When I'm more focused on other issues instead, okay, like you're focused on acceptance and inclusivity when we could be more focused about the issues that are at hand, which are helping the lower socioeconomic class.
Did you know inclusivity actually increases, like, betters every single business that is more inclusive?
It can, but
so then the economy's better. So then that's helping lower socioeconomic.
But that's from one perspective.
No, that's just the fact. It
increases. I mean, we can say that's just the facts, but if we look at the way that businesses have been struggling throughout the years, like, you know, it's all about perspective. So people will tell me that it's all about the facts. You have to look at it from different areas.
Sure. Okay. Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.